will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear blocks my way. For every step I take in faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. Child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. Surrender. I surrender. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. Child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. Surrender.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Let's give Jim some love.
Thank you, Sonny.
Welcome to the Revealing Experience. I'm Sunny Daye, and I would like to invite you all to sing along with me. There's a song in the program called We Welcome. But if you don't know it and don't want to look in the program, just listen to someone next to you. They'll be singing nice and loud. Come on in, we welcome, we welcome, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome, we welcome, we welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat.
Come on.
We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in,
Come on in.
come on in,
Come on in.
come on in. We welcome you. Come on in,
We will.
come on in,
Come on in.
come on in. We welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in.
We welcome. Come on
Nice.
in.
Come on in. We welcome you.
Come on in.
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 Come on in. We welcome you. All right. Nice, going with the flow of the new version. I heard you hit that tag. You know what's up. So we move into reveal. Speaking of that truth, that love, that peace, and that joy that is right where we are. Yeah. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. The peace. Reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. The joy. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Yeah. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time
I open up,
love
is what I see.
every time
I open up,
peace is what I
peace
see.
is what I see.
Every time
I open
joy
up,
is what I see.
joy is what I see.
Reveal the love,
Reveal
the love in me.
Thank you, Sunny Daye and Jim Bianchi, very much for that beautiful opening. I'm Robin Mitchell. I'm a practitioner here at Seaside, and it's my joy to ask you to go within and pray with me. So as I breathe in that breath of life, I center myself in that core of me, which is whole, perfect, and complete. I feel that God's Spirit moving in me and in this very room. I feel so grateful to have the individual souls of Spirit expressing here in light consciousness for this beautiful sanctuary, for this place where we can meet and share this wonderful consciousness. And I am so grateful for the divinely guided words of Reverend Sunshine, knowing that they touch the inner part of each of us, revealing something special to us tonight, something that moves our lives that we can take with us and share out in the world and make it a better place. So knowing this evening is perfect, whole, divinely blessed, and absolutely complete as it is, I simply let it go. So it is. Well, good evening. Hi. This year, our topic and our theme is We're Getting Booked Up. And this is based on the Science of Mind magazine, not magazine, but the Science of Mind book, textbook, written by Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science. And my reading tonight is also from Ernest Holmes. It's from this thing called You. I left my glasses, so let me get them. So I just invite you to close your eyes and embrace these words, knowing that this is Spirit speaking to you, as you. Today I uncover the perfection within me. In its fullness I reveal the indwelling kingdom. I look out upon the world and my affairs, knowing the Spirit within me makes my way both immediate and easy. I know that there is nothing in me that could possibly obstruct or withhold the divine circuit of life and love, which good is. My word dissolves every negative thought or impulse that could throw a shadow over my perfection. Good flows me in all ways. Good shines through my thoughts and my actions. Good harmonizes my body so that it is revitalized and manifests perfection in every cell, in every organ, in every function. Good harmonizes my mind so that love sings joyously in my heart. I am completely conscious of the all good in me, around me, and in me that is me. I am in complete unity with good. I have complete confidence in my knowledge and understanding of the law of good. I not only know what the law is, I know how to use it. I know that I shall obtain definite results through the use of it. I realize that doubts about my ability to use this law are the things of thought. What thought has produced, thought can change. Knowing this, having confidence in my ability to use the law, and using it daily for specific purposes, I gradually build up an unshakable faith, both in the law and the possibility of demonstrating it. There is no doubt in me, no uncertainty rising through me. My mind rejoices in certainty and in assurance. I confidently expect that my world shall not return me into void. Therefore, today I declare that the law of the Lord is perfect in everything I do. I will eternalize happiness. It will bring every good thing to me. Today I'm inwardly aware that there is a secret way of the soul. There is a secret pathway of peace. There is an invisible presence forever externalizing itself for me and through me. Today I believe in divine guidance. Today I believe that underneath are the everlasting arms. Today I rest in this divine assurance and this divine security, knowing not only that all is well with my soul, my spirit, and my mind, all is well with my affairs. And now I would like you to welcome wonderful Reverend Sunshine and the message tonight, the breath of life.
Thank you, beloved Robin, for that beautiful prayer and that reading. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, and welcome to the Revealing Experience. You know, when we first started visioning as to what this Wednesday night service would become, one of the things that was important to me was what Ernest Holmes says. And he says that anyone who is in close proximity with that indwelling presence is a revealer of truth. And living by that is what I enjoy doing, because it means that each of us is a revealer of truth. And in the reading that Robin read, Ernest Holmes is speaking in the absolute. He's speaking about the indwelling truth of our life. He's not talking about the conditions of the world. As a matter of fact, I believe I heard that when he looks out into the world, what he recognizes is that which is within, which is that perfection, that divinity, that law of life. And today, the breath of life, my talk title, The Breath of Life, is taken from the Science of Mind book. I think it's page 228 to 229. And it's actually talking about breathing, lungs, folks who may have conditions or lung conditions. And Ernest Holmes gives us an opportunity to recognize the truth. I love in the reading that Robin read today how Ernest Holmes talks about this place of being so sure, like, I know that my life is the life that God is. There's absolutely nothing that can separate my life from that life. I know that there's a law that I can use, and I use it. Not only do I know about this law, but I know how to use it. And that's what I would love for this spiritual community, our spiritual community, to be steeped in such a way and to be so anchored in the truth that we can say without a shadow of a doubt, I know the law and I know how to use it. Sounds dangerous, huh? How many of you know how to drive a car? Remember when you first started learning? You know, I remember when I first started driving a stick shift. I think I had whiplash for about a year from the constant jerking back and forth. But it seems like this is a pretty mature crowd, and by now you know how to drive. It's probably, you're probably the ones that come to at the light going, how did I get here? Like, I left the house and everything, got in the car, started the car, took it out of park, put it in drive or reverse, and here I am at this red light because I stopped. Like that, it becomes such a part of who we are. It becomes second nature to us. We know how to do this. And wouldn't it be wonderful if, in fact, we became so well versed, if we became so proficient at knowing this truth and knowing how to use it? Where would we be? What would we be doing? Where would we be living? What would we have accomplished if we could truly say, I know the law and I know how to use it. I know about the creative process and I know how to manifest. I know that through the power of my thoughts and the power of my words and the intention that is set within me, I know that I co-create and that I'm able to create and outpicture what's in my mind and have it come forth into the material. And I'm not talking like a magician or the Carbonaro effect, the new guy who just kind of makes things appear out of plain sight. But I am indeed talking about a process that we teach and that we teach well, that is available to each and every one of us. The key is is, are we going to take it as serious as we took driving and learning how to drive so we can get around in life? Are we going to take it that serious, or are we just going to play around with it? You know, I know how to drive. I don't know how to use a skateboard. You know how to use a skateboard? See, you're probably really good at a skateboard. I get on a skateboard at my age right now, and I try to and kind of get on, and it's kind of, you know, I don't know, I better stop it quickly. So I don't dedicate a whole lot of time trying to learn how to ride a skateboard. But then again, I don't necessarily need a skateboard to get around. It's fun. But what about us in terms of our spiritual practice, our spiritual awareness, the things, the spiritual tools, our spiritual toolkit that is available to us that would really make life like super easy, super fun, super abundant, super joyous, and super loving if we just simply were able to use the spiritual toolkit that has been laid at our feet, not only by Ernest Holmes, but by some of the great avatars that have walked and lived this earth, who continuously tell us the same thing but in a different way. Whether it's we're picking up the scriptures known as the Bible or the Torah or the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or the Science of Mind book or any other spiritual book, we're constantly being told that it is important to go within, that it is important to know the truth, that there is a power and a presence that we can use for our good. Talk about hitting that easy button all the time. That was easy. That was easy. That was easy. That when we, in fact, begin to use it, that we begin to see our life change drastically and dramatically. And that it doesn't stop there. That it actually continues to be used throughout the world by practitioners, people who practice the art of healing. Now, some of us may kind of say, okay, now that's where you lost me. Drew the line right there. Because what do you mean, healers? I mean, here in our Western society, we've totally fully accepted doctors as healers, nurse practitioners as healers. In Christian Science, practitioners are healers. In religious science, practitioners are healers. And how is that possible? Ernest Holmes says, heal thyself, practitioner. Quimby, which is known, he's known as the grandfather of New Thought. Quimby healed himself. He was a very sick man, and what he found was he was kind of searching and looking for different ways to be okay. And he actually came across a gentleman who was Mesmer. His last name was Mesmer. That's where you get mesmerized, you know, or that hypnotic, the hypnotizing, the mesmerization. But he found that was not enough, that just kind of mesmerizing, that kind of work did not necessarily work for him. And he was healed by going on a horse ride to where the horse was just like galloping, and he found himself laughing and so joyous at this ride that something within him changed his mind about healing and about being happy and about recognizing his wholeness and his oneness with everything. And many people began to see Quimby. Many people began to see him almost like we would see a practitioner, because they would have body ailments, things that they thought were unable to be cured. And he would tell them that their thoughts and what they believed was the answer to their body or physical discomfort. And that's exactly what Ernest Holmes talks about. See, when we kind of take it back to the basics, like we did in the very beginning in January, when we started reading the Science of Mind book, and we kind of got the real basics, that there's one power, one presence, one life, and that life is God. That's where we got to really be anchored. If we want to be practitioners, if we want to be healers, if we want to indeed really outpicture what this teaching is teaching us, the more and more I become anchored in that truth, the more and more I know that truth for myself, the more it becomes like second nature, like driving the car. To the degree in which I embrace that and I know that beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's to that degree that my life, my body, my temple begins to be the exact reflection of this power, this presence, this life. See, because we believe that God is whole, perfect, God in itself is complete, is absolute, it is eternal life. It is love, it is joy, it is peace, it is abundance, it is clarity, it is wisdom. So if that is the truth of God, and God has created everything out of itself, then everything that is created by this one power, this one presence, this one life has to be that. Did I lose y'all yet? Okay. It has to be that. And if it has to be that, then that means that that's what I am. And it means that that's what you are. And see, if God had lungs, as in the book, The Breath of Life, they would be perfect. If our bodies follow the dictates of our mind, and our mind says, I'm flawed, there's something wrong. Because, of course, this is kind of, when we're kind of born into a lot of this race consciousness, a lot of this race thought. And for those of us who might be new to science of mind or our philosophy or our way of life, when I say race consciousness or race thought, what I'm saying is we're born into this pattern of thinking that there's something wrong with us or that God is separate than we are. That God is somewhere outside of us, maybe even outside of this universe, otherworldly, if you will, and that somehow or another we have to beg and beseech and that we have to pray really hard to try to connect with this power and this presence that is so grand that it may or may not have time for us because we're just mere human. It's just another creation in the vastness. And that somehow or another we have to beg and beseech and ask this power and presence to grant us something. And because we're born into that kind of thinking, it's almost like we have to erase that and bring in the truth. Erase that and bring in the truth. Erase that and bring in the truth. And so if I'm going to even have any type of proficiency or any type of ease and grace in this philosophy, then it is incumbent upon me to not only study, but to begin to practice and to begin to walk and talk and do exactly what I'm learning. So that I am, by means of that, I'm unlearning some of the stuff that I was taught as a child that is not the truth of who I am, and beginning to stand in the truth of who I am. And the truth of who I am and the truth of who you are is exactly the same. So if there's somebody in your life that you admire and you just think that they are the bee's knees, I wonder where that phrase came from. And do bees really have knees? If you think that they are the best thing since sliced bread, if you think, oh my gosh, how awesome or adorable or how grand or how glorious this person is, just begin to put an equal sign between the two of you. That person equals me. That'll help get you started. Because sometimes we can't put an equal sign between me and God. You know, sometimes that's just like going a little too far there, sunshine. But if there's someone who we admire and who we think walks a great spiritual path or who is so loving or so successful or so whatever, begin to then put them and then the equal sign and then me. As we begin to like take the steps, because you know, like if we want to get to this big old plateau of I have arrived, you know, it takes a lot of steps to get there. And one of the steps to get to God equals me and me equals God, to get to that plateau, is to be me equals you, and me equals you, and you equal me. It's to recognize the beauty and go, yeah, the beauty that I see in her. The reason why I see the beauty in her is because it lives in me. Otherwise, I couldn't see it. I wouldn't recognize it. The awesomeness that I see in you is what lives in me. Otherwise, I couldn't recognize it. And we begin there. We begin with the affirmations. We begin with the spiritual practice. We begin in recognizing that there's one life. That life is God, period. So I believe in God and nothing else. And if that's the truth, then my life is the way that God expresses in this human form. And that your life is the way that God expresses in this human form. And if that's the truth, then the truth is that the perfection that God is, we are. That's why people walk around the center going, I'm whole, perfect, and complete. I'm whole, perfect, and complete. And of course, those of us who are doubters would be like, oh, no, you're not, because you didn't get an A on that last exam in class. Or no, because wasn't that you who had that car accident? How perfect is that? You know? We begin to doubt and we begin to try to find ways to discount it rather than finding the ways to affirm it. Why, yes, you are. Even in what we might call imperfection, there is a perfection happening in that. Because our life is that life that God is. My life is God. Your life is God. Therefore, whatever is ailing us, whatever we have taken on as a dis-ease or something that's going on with our bodies. You know, this week, tonight's reading is talking about the lungs, but we've talked about this before here on Wednesday nights. And it doesn't hurt to go over it again, because repetition is one of the ways that we get to remember the truth of who we are. I think I said this on Sunday when I was here. It's kind of like having a dirty glass and pouring clean water into it. You know, when you pour the clean water into it, the clean water doesn't necessarily dissolve the dirt. It just brings it to the surface. But if we keep and continue pouring more and more clean water into that glass, the dirt eventually leaves. And you know what? And I say eventually because, you know, sometimes I thought the dirt was gone and I just started drinking and then I was biting into some gritty. Look at that face. She's like, ugh. But you know what I mean? Like sometimes that stuff will come up, which means to me that it doesn't matter how long I've been in this practice, how long I have lived this philosophy, how long I have studied. Sometimes the dirt from my past comes up. Sometimes that stuff comes up, and it comes up to be healed. It comes up because it is being revealed. It comes up like, hey, here I am, just when you thought you were coasting, here's something else you have to deal with. And get right, meaning get rid of me because I act as a law unto your life. So it comes up to be seen and revealed. When the hard times come up in our lives, when the discomforts come up in our lives, it's not that we're being punished. It's not that, oh my gosh, I must not be living as a practitioner or living as a great, science of mind person, or I must be doing something wrong. No, you're doing something right. It's coming up because it's time for that to be revealed and for it to rear its ugly head and say, get rid of me, you no longer need me. You no longer need this cold. You no longer need to buy into flu season. You no longer need to say, well, there's not enough to go around. It's coming up so you can address it and be rid of it so that you might address it and know the truth of who you are and know the truth about all of us. That's what Ernest Holmes is talking about. Being so steeped, being so just knowing it. Some people might say knowing it like the back of my hand, but frankly, I don't know the back of my hand. I haven't really looked at it. I don't really examine the back of my hand. But you know what I'm saying? It's knowing it like we know how to drive. It's just innate now. It's just part of our nature now. It's part of what we do. Some of you are great at typing and you know that keyboard without looking at it. Talking about knowing our science of mind philosophy, living it to such a degree that you're not even looking and you're living it. You're just da 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 da. You know? It's just happening. It's like, oh my gosh, that thing's going to be on fire in a second because those keys are just... I still kind of hunt and peck. Where's that G again? Oh, there it is. That's what I'm talking about, being so proficient, having the practice and practicing so diligently that our life changes, that our bodies begin to heal and recognize that they are these divine machines that is an outpicturing of the life that God is. That's what he's talking about. Here's a prayer that he uses, which is very similar like the prayer that Robin read, which is also by Ernest Holmes. So whether it's a lung, a foot, a bald spot, whatever it is that we're ready to release, he says this particular prayer, treating for lung trouble, but he says this: I erase. Imagine erasing like a chalkboard or a whiteboard or using a pencil eraser, right? I erase from my consciousness the belief that any of the tissues of my body can be impaired. I erase the belief that any relationship can be impaired. I erase the belief in lack. I erase the belief in limitation. I erase the belief in separation, in hatred, in doubt, in fear. I erase the belief in that. It takes a lot to come to believe something. So you begin with the words so that the action follows. So I erase from my consciousness the belief that the tissues of my body can be impaired, inflamed, or destroyed. Joyfully, peacefully, trusting, confidently, I give my body, every tissue, atom, every function, over to the Spirit of life. Imagine for those of us who are parents with growing children, I turn over my children to the Spirit of life right now, right? Everything over to the Spirit of life, which in its perfection does now renew and rebuild me, even out of itself. Right now, renews, restores me, rebuilds me, even out of itself. that substance out of which my body is created. Hello? That substance, and that's a capital S, meaning God itself, the thing itself, the life energy itself. That substance of which my body is created is spiritual and is maintained by the all-powerful essence of spirit. I dare you to go home and just open up the book and find prayers and begin to recite them, begin to read them, begin to adopt them and adapt them in your daily life. I dare you to go home and just get 1 or 2 lines from our prayers out of the book and begin to repeat them to yourselves and know them. Let it become a song. Come next week and say, Jim Bianchi, I got a new song. Here's how it goes. Let that be your new mantra, your new affirmation, your new song that your soul is trying to sing. Because when we align ourselves, consciously align ourselves with the truth, because the bottom line is we're always aligned in God. God is our life. We cannot be anything else. It is an impossibility. But what we get to do is we get to align our consciousness with this truth. Instead of aligning ourselves, or instead of teaming up with hatred, despair, lack, limitation, team up with the truth of who you are. Align yourself with that. Begin to pray in this way, that you might begin to believe something different, that you might begin to believe the truth of who you are. This is what Ernest Holmes is talking about. He's talking about knowing this to such a degree that we begin to live from that place of the great I am, and that we begin to recognize that technically no healing needed to be done in the first place. That technically what we might call healing is simply the revealing of the truth. When we reveal that that's our truth, we're healed. So it's not like there's some magic laying on of the hands and you're healed. The healing comes from the revelation of your oneness with radiance, your oneness with love, your oneness with the energetic that has created you out of itself. It's simply waiting for you to remember your essence, to remember that this is your truth. And when we come here on Wednesday nights, when we come here on Sundays, when we get together, instead of smacking each other down, and talking about this one didn't do that or not the other and boo-hoo and da-da-da, let us begin to lift each other up and remind each other of the truth of who we are. That we might look at each other and go, when I see you, I see God. When I see you, I see my reflection. When someone says, oh my gosh, you're just radiating, and we get to go, yeah, I'm just a reflection of who you are. You're seeing yourself. We're seeing one another. We're seeing God in, through, and as each and every one of us. So the breath of life, as we breathe that in, we're simply knowing that there's one breath, that breath is God, and that breath is our breath right now, that we are it. So we're going to take that into our silent time, into our time in the stillness. And the invitation is to clear away that which may be on your laps, which may obstruct you from knowing the truth. And even if you just, in your own mind, silently repeat the words that are coming forth from my mouth, it is simply a prayer as we go into the silence. For I believe in God and nothing else. The one power, the one presence, the one life that is everywhere, simultaneously at all places, at all times, that is all-knowing, all-powerful, ever active. Knowing that it is expressed in so many beautiful and magnificent ways like love, joy, peace, abundance, wholeness, wisdom, divine creativity, joy, abounding joy. And what I know is that God has created everything out of itself, therefore my life is God. It is one of the many beautiful, magnificent ways that God expresses itself. It is one of the ways that God expresses itself. My life is one of the ways that God expresses itself. Therefore, the love that God is, I am. The wholeness that God is, I am. The peace that God is, I am. The abundance that God is, I am. The joy that God is, I am. All that God is, I am.
breath of God is breathing me, resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well.
All is indeed well, for the breath of God is breathing me. There is no place where my life ends and the life of God begins. It is indeed all the life of God living in, through, and as my very life right now. And as this is my truth, I know that this is the truth for each and every one of us right now. That breath that is that life that God is expressing itself in a beautiful and magnificent way. So what I'm doing right here, right now, is I am clearing away anything that is unlike the divine perfection that God is. Any doubt, any fear, any idea in illness, any idea in lack or limitations, any doubt, any fear, anything that is a lesser vibration of the wholeness of God, I simply just allow to just fall away from me. And I invite you to do the same. And I invite us now to simply call into our minds wholeness. Wholeness in our own bodies. That every organ, every function, every action is indeed following this divine pattern of life, perfect life that is God. That every cell is multiplying itself in its healthy fashion. That the bone marrow, that everything within us is indeed just following this divine pattern of life. And that we're vibrant and strong and whole. As we scan our bodies from our heads all the way to our toes, we just recognize the divine perfection in everything. Perfect heart, perfect mind, perfect function, perfect elimination and absorption. And as we know this truth for ourselves, we know this truth for each and every member of this community. Recognizing the wholeness of our beloved Rich right now, knowing that his body is indeed that body of God in its wholeness. Recognizing and calling to mind Reverend Fran right now, right where she is, knowing and commanding right now, we see her whole, that everything is functioning in a divine manner. It's following that divine pattern. And if there's someone on your hearts and minds right now that you want to see whole, and that you're simply calling forth into this vibration of this prayer, this powerful word that is being spoken right now, simply call their name either in your mind or out loud, and know and let us see together as a community their wholeness, their perfection, their beauty, their divinity in God right now. Simply call out their names, simply say their names out loud or in your mind right now and see them. See that breath of God breathing them and knowing that all is well. And as we know this truth for and about ourselves and for our beloved community, we know that the health and the wholeness of this spiritual community, of the Seaside community, of the greater San Diego community, of our world, is indeed following that divine pattern of love and of life that is God. We see it now in our mind's eye. We call it forth. We believe that it is possible and that this is the truth. And we just let that settle in. We let it become our new belief. We let it become what is known to us in consciousness. And then we look for all the ways that it is true. We look for all the ways that it is being made manifest in the physical form. And so because I pray believing that it is done, I give thanks. I'm grateful. I move into that place of thanksgiving that I know that this is the truth of our life, of the life of our loved ones, of our community, of our world. I give thanks that I know this truth and that I'm becoming more and more steeped in this way of thinking, in this way of living, in this philosophy. I give thanks that this is the truth and that it is already being made manifest even before I spoke the words. So I simply release this prayer, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God, and that there is a divine law which takes this word now and it makes it so. It makes it so by the power of the word itself and by the conviction of my heart that this is already the truth. So I let go and I joyfully await its manifestation in physical form. And so it is. Amen. Thanks for going there with me. It's kind of nice to have some friends along the way. Makes it easier. And so the invitation at this moment in this feeling tone is that invitation of giving. For we have indeed received so much. And now the invitation is to take a portion of that which we have received and simply give it forth into our spiritual community. So I invite our ushers forward at this time, thanking Dennis and Melissa for their loving service week in, week out. And I invite you now to take your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, knowing that we are supporters of this community, knowing that we give from that place of thanksgiving, recognizing that we have so much and we're just taking a portion of that and gifting it to this community, that we might continue to provide the services, the love, and keep the doors open so that as many as possible have the opportunity to know their life as the life of God. And so we simply infuse that gift, that tithe, that offering with our own thanksgiving, grateful that it came through our lives, that we are now able to give it forth into the lives of so many. So we give from this place of love, of joy, of peace, and we allow it then to go and enter the world and return unto us in greater and greater amounts. Go forth, ushers. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your giving. Thank you for your generous hearts. And since you have generous hearts, open up your heart space, please, and accept the beautiful music of Sunny Daye and Jim Bianchi.
Thank you for that beautiful message, an amazing prayer. Wow. He called her from the road, from a lonely cold hotel room, to hear her say, I love you one more time. And when he heard the sound of the kids laughing in the background, he had to wipe away a tear from his eye. A little voice came on the phone, said, Daddy, when you coming home? He said the first thing that came to his mind, I'm already there. Just take a look around. I'm the sunshine in your hair. I'm the shadow on the ground. I'm the whisper in the wind. I'm your imaginary friend. And I know I'm in your prayers. I'm already there. She got back on the phone. She said, I really miss you, darling. Don't worry about the kids, they'll be alright. Wish I was with you now, right there beside you. But I know that I'll be in your dreams tonight. And I'll whisper in your ear so that only you can hear. So open up your heart and close your eyes, 'cause I'm already there. Don't make a sound. I'm the beat in your heart. I'm the moonlight shining down. I'm the whisper in the wind, and I'll be there till the end. Can't you feel the love that we share? I'm already there. We may be 1,000 miles apart, but I am with you wherever you are. I'm already there. Just take a look around. I'm the sunlight in your hair. I'm the shadow on the ground. I'm the whisper in the wind. I'm your imaginary friend. Can you feel the love that we share? I'm already there. I'm already there. No separation. I'm already there. One life, one life. I'm already there.
And so it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful job, Sunny Daye. Jim, thank you.
Beautiful.
Usually at our service, we just take a moment to hear from our community. And I see that we've gone over time just a little bit. But it's always important to hear from somebody at least. So, is there, what are you going to take away with you, a nugget, or maybe there's a success that you want to share with our community that you want folks to know and celebrate with you, or something that you're going to take with you from tonight's message, a song, prayer, reading? I'm so glad you're here tonight, by the way.
All right, so my mom approved this, so I wrote it. Today's message is Breath of Life.
Tell us your name so that we might know.
I'm
you.
Brody, 12 years old. So some of you have experienced the fires about a month ago, some of you have not. It destroyed many trees and plants and acres of wildlife. You might think of this as a bad thing, but I don't. The reason is, ever since my dad told me that this gives the plants and trees time to evolve, and I thought he was crazy. This is an example of God using his lungs to create this fire to make our community even more beautiful than it already is. And trust me, it is beautiful.
Indeed. Thank you so much. That's what I'm talking about. That sometimes we need to know the truth, and we get to see it a little bit differently than we have before. This is a way that God is expressing itself as the lungs of God. I like the way you said that, right? Just making new possibilities for new life, for the evolution of our plants, of our animal life to simply come forth, and giving us an opportunity to come together as a humanity to help one another and to recognize how precious life is. So thank you for that message. Very, very poignant, very, very essential. I want to thank Jenny, our coordinator, for helping us tonight make this a wonderful service. Melanie, our sound person, thank you so much. Tim Griffin, who makes sure that people at home can see us and that we have an archive so that if we like the talk or if we want to turn somebody else on to the talk, we can always go back on our website and actually see the talk over and over again. So thank you so much for your vital service, Tim. Want to thank Ray Holder. He's one of our practitioners, and he's been on vigil duty tonight. He's been radiating the light, and he's been knowing the perfect outpicturing of our service tonight. And also want to thank Robin, our practitioner on pulpit and platform today, for that beautiful reading, that beautiful prayer. Our practitioners are going to be available to us in our chapel right after service. So if there's something that you would like prayer around, please see them. It is their gift to you, making themselves available to you in prayer, knowing the truth, and being able to simply help us to anchor that truth in so that we have a new belief and that we believe what we're talking about. And also want to make sure that I thank our beautiful musicians. Thank you so much, Jim Bianchi, and the beautiful Sunny Daye. Thank you so much for your service, your voice, your gifts. Thank you so much for sharing your talents with us. Oh, my joy. It's my joy to be here with you tonight and every week. Come back next week, bring a friend. And also just want to remind you that in the month of July, since July has 5 Wednesdays, the last Wednesday, I think it's July the 30th, we're going to do that special Daye service. So it's going to be definitely meditative and musical and meditative and musical. And did I say meditative and musical? Yeah, so it's going to be that kind of a service. So it's a treat that you want to give yourselves and that you want to give others. So want to make sure that you know about that, set that on your calendar, and that you're here to experience that. I think that's it. Make sure you stop by the bookstore tonight and pick up all the things you can't live without. And we will see you back here next week. Love you, Nicolette. We miss you tonight. Let us rise and let us sing our closing prayer song. We got Brody making sure that we do it right.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
him, okay?
Wisdom and joy live inside me. I am the heart of love divine, never apart from the one who guides me. Wholeness and peace of mind, wholeness and peace of mind. Wisdom and joy live inside me. I am the heart of love divine, never apart from the one who guides me. Wholeness and peace of mind, wholeness and peace of mind, wholeness and peace of mind. Wisdom and joy live inside me. I am the heart of love divine, never apart from the one who guides me. Wholeness and peace of mind, wholeness and peace of mind, wholeness and peace of mind. Wholeness and peace of mind. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.